What's going on, Internet? It is your boy, Eric Banholtz, back again with another awesome episode from Urban Beersman. Today, we're talking watches. Now, what I want to talk about today is a little bit about how watches are made and how you should choose a watch that fits your own style. What I'm not going to be talking about are Apple watches and kind of like those technology phone watches, for lack of better terms. We're going to stick to the basics here. Now, a watch can be made in primarily two different ways. You've got your quartz watch and you've got your mechanical watch. Now, a quartz watch, it was invented, I think, back in the 1950s. I remember doing a little bit of research and seeing that Rolex came out with this quartz watch right around when, maybe it was the 40s, right around when the Second War was going on with a need for very precise type of timekeeping. So a quartz watch is going to give you more precise time than a mechanical watch. Now, what's the difference? How are they made? So a quartz watch is made by, it's battery powered, and then that battery will vibrate a quartz crystal or a gem, and that vibrations can be broken down into second pieces. So over time, it's really been able to nail it very precise. Now, time is a very arbitrary thing. It's essentially how we're rotating around the sun and how the earth rotates. So those are two very arbitrary things. So to be able to get very close to exact is quite impressive. Now, the other way you can produce a watch is through a mechanical process. They've got no batteries in them at all. In fact, they've got probably like 100 different pieces. These mechanical watches, or mechanical movement as they call them, are going to be powered by you, yourself. And typically it's going to be you winding your watch up on a daily basis. Sometimes a watch will last only about 24 to 48 hours on a wind. Sometimes it will last up to 7 or 8 days on a single wind. Owners of these type of watches have gotten adjusted and used to just winding it every day before they put it on. So one's kind of old school technology, one's kind of new school technology. Which is more expensive? So the new school technology, the battery powered ones, are the watches that you'll see that are anywhere from $10 up to a couple $100. So they're going to be in the more entry level price point. And the mechanical watches, they're going to be in the more expensive price point. They're going to be in the $1,000 and up, depending on the movement, depending on the features and functionality, and of course, depending on the enclosure, the case, if it's made out of gold or silver or stainless steel, the watch, all those little details will hack up the price. So when I first looked into watches, I thought, man, what is it about this tag here that makes it $3,000 when I can just go get a, Citizen watch for $100 or a Nixon watch for $100? And really it comes down to that movement. So what draws someone to the mechanical movement? Well, it's a little bit of that art form that's still left into it. It's not about, the precision of time. It's about like the engineering and the thought process and the fact that something so small, 100 different moving parts, springs and gears and gems can all go into this fine little piece right on your watch and keep very accurate time. I mean, it's not precise time, but very accurate time within seconds over the course of weeks. So it's almost like the art form. There's a cool company out of Los Angeles called Weiss watch makers. They're a relatively new brand, and he's making all his watches here in LA, designing them from the ground up. He's using Swiss parts for the movement, bringing them in, piecing it together, and selling it. So I think there's still some like artistry still involved in it. Now, before I go into a couple more watch brands, let me tell you, I haven't been gifted any watches. I bought everything I've got here with my own money, or it was passed down to me. So none of these are paid endorsements. They're just stuff that I like. When it comes to finding a watch that you like, so much of it isn't the actual like hardware or the pieces that go together, the wrist straps and the design. More of it is the brand behind the watch. What does that brand stand for? What are they trying to convey? What are they trying to do? Because hopefully I've already established the watch is, while it's slightly functional, the primary focus of a watch is going to be the style aspect and what it tells the world about you. So what you want to do is align yourself with a brand who has similar values, similar passions, and wear that. So this watch I've got here, Nuvo. Okay, they're a real small company. I like that. I like that I've still got that connection with the founder and the owner. And in fact, we did a profile on the founder, Mark Andrews. He's got a gnarly beard, really cool. They're just like upstart. They're out of Australia. And they're doing some cool things like the watches. You probably can't see it here, but the faces are all organic material. So they're wood-based face. And he likes the very simple, very clean, and affordable price type of item. So this is going to be in the $100 to $200 range. So Nuvo is a really cool brand for me. And this is a quartz watch. Another brand that I like from a bigger perspective is Nixon. Nixon makes some really cool watches. And they push the limits of what a watch should be. And one of my favorites that I own is the Rotolog. And it looks completely different than any other watch out there. It stands out. It's a statement piece. When you wear that, people take notice. And they've got a full line of watches that are really broad, very bold, very big, both digital and analog. And a lot of their cheaper stuff is quartz movement. But I think over the past couple of years, they've also got into the mechanical movement. I said, in terms of mechanical stuff, I love the Weiss brand. What I mostly wear, my mechanical watch, is an Omega watch that was passed down to me from my grandfather. It was the entry level. It's the Geneva line of watches. I think it's from like 1964. And it still ticks, it still winds up every single day. And keeps pretty good time. It doesn't keep the best time. It'll get out of whack, especially if I'm not winding it. But that's kind of like the heart and soul of the piece. And not only that, it's like the story of getting it from my grandfather. So, in terms of watches, don't restrict yourself to just stuff that's new. You can look to the past and look to the history and find watches that were really cool back in the day. Or maybe they weren't that cool back in the day, but they're really cool now. And connect with that style, One other watch company that I want to mention that I think is really cool, I don't own any of their watches, but Carlos Costa introduced it to me, is Birline. They've got a very classic kind of sophisticated watch face, and they tie that together with a really cool watch band that's got I think they call it tweed over there, but it's a very textured watch band, and some of them have a little pop. You'll have a bright blue or a pink or orange. Or your classic blacks and your grays, your browns. But it's just that clash of sophistication and casual that really draws me into it. So when shopping for your watch, don't really look for, necessarily the hardware. Look for the brand, look for that connection. And don't be afraid to push your limits. With quartz, you can get a lot more watches that kind of fit your style that aren't going to break your budget. But when you get into mechanical movement, you can really explore the movement behind it and the history of that movement and how it's being used, because there's a lot of different types of movement. One quick tip before I leave you. If you ever want to notice the difference between a mechanical watch and a quartz watch, look at the second hand. With a quartz watch, the seconds are going to go boop, boop, boop. Whereas with a mechanical watch, it's typically going to be a lot smoother. So it'll be a So, hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys find the watches. Maybe you can throw in the comments what your favorite watch is and what you guys love wearing. I love to see it. I always love exploring new brands. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Cheers. Beard on.